guys, how you doing? Today I want to do a quick overlook over the map on the one versus ones and talk about it, right? And talk about better sieves and take a look on the maps and everything, right? Should be a quick video, not going to be over builds that much. Uh, why? Because some of the maps are pretty straightforward, and we can talk about Steppe and Mega Random in the end of the video. Okay, so let's start with Mongolia. So in the old days, Mongolia was very easy to wall. It's not that much anymore, but still easy, right? So let's take a look and talk about it, right? So look, still boomy map, right? Sometimes they're more open, sometimes they're like that, pretty much walled. You always have the deer, like it's a lot of deer. See like 7, so or so at least, and all the regular food. How you approach this? One way is to like drush, premium drush, or drush FC. Another way is like you have a castle sieve and you go FC right away. It's a castle drop at your base. And there's a lot of pickers out there, right? You can probably, if you've been there playing this map, they pick Berbers or Mongols or whatever. So I don't recommend you trying to do one sieve only. But you could do mirror. You could do mirror and random, right? Maybe you can do a mirror roar, or you play random anyways, and and you and you adapt, right? Like think about win conditions and everything. And if you see this map, imagine you need to be aggressive and everything. You can take a big chunk of his wood income here, right, and lock in there. Then do some walls and everything. Get map control if he wants to go FC or something like that. That being said, since that's usual consensus about this map is like explore well. Most likely you want to do some sort of castle shenanigans, right? Like fast castle shenanigans. I prefer drush FC, not premium drush FC. Don't confuse with that, right? Like because you wanna, you're probably going to get him walling and everything, and repair the walls and so on, and you get some map control while doing it, and then you can do whatever you want. Take from there, prepare from what he's doing, right? If you just straight FC, then imagine he could literally do FC as well and drop a castle on your face. If you're not ready for it, you have no map control, right? So that's my thought about that map. Um, this map, good sieves, usually good sieves, like you know, any good castle unit sieve is unique unit is good, and eco or whatever. It all depends somehow in a way that sometimes you can have a best sieve and then he can get the only sieve that can kind of counters you as well, right? So um, depends a bit. Next map, uh, Ghost Lake. Ghost Lake is just like Arabia. The most important thing about Ghost Lake you need to know is that obviously you cannot build first. Obviously the sheep, there's a bunch of sheep in the middle, so people tend to pick Tatars or Britons or whatever, even though Mayans for me is the best one here, most of the times. But the most important thing you need to understand is that obviously you cannot build here, right? So it's really hard to be pushed if you have some sort of map control over your land, right? So everything's super slow. There's no siege, there's no castle fort if you don't let them do it, and so on, right? And again, in this map you can play like Arabia, but can be very open. So imagine this situation here, right? Like his TC's here, and if you go like many times into archers and some shit, like you can easily delay, like deny his berries, right, or his main gold or his main stone. Then he's stuck there, and if you apply pressure here, right, then he's out of food. You know what I mean? Again, why we not doing build orders for those? Because we don't need to. You guys know how to play those, and if you don't, there's some tutorials in our own channel as well for that matter, with the strategies and shit, right? So yeah, you should do fine. Just remember, again, it's really hard to push. You don't want him to get like siege workshop easily on your land. Then everything needs to go through the middle where you cannot build. Then it's really hard to do something. It's slow, right? It's more equal map, because again, everything's super slow if you do things right. Uh, next video, let's check the other next map. So it goes like Steppe. Okay, so one thing about Steppe that I like to share with you, and people tend to like Steppe, I do personally as well. It's the beginning where you guys usually go or wood, a lumber camper. You don't need to, right? Let's think about it, right? Let's open the map here. S. What? Oh, here. Sorry. So it's normal, really. And get Berbers can be any cipher, it doesn't matter. Besides Hans, by the way. So what you do is select all videos right away, drop this in the middle. Always, right? And then you put your horse seat. Explore, sheep, blah blah blah. And what people do a lot, like I see at these lots of my students when they play this map, they do the same thing, which kills me, which is basically they go for the wood right away. Why? You have 200 wood already and you have houses, right? So instead, you go to the berries. You know what I mean? Very simple if you think about it, but just go for the berries. You take wood food much faster. In this case, berries are very, very good. It's really close, to almost to the edge of the range of the TC. And then you play normal. You could do archers, you could do scouts, you could FC and everything. But again, with much better food eco, especially if you if you like to play scouts on this one. And this is a map where mobility matters a lot more than others, right? And especially because you start without the horse and everything. And another tip I have for this kind of map, for this map, is about the deer. You never go, unless you're Mongols and you're doing some whatever, right? You don't go for the middle deer, but there's always deer close, right? Like these ones. So you just lure with a villager. So that's also probably common sense. But what's not common sense is how to lure the deer, because sometimes you shoot them, right? You tend to, when you're doing it, you kill them, right? So what you do is that when you're luring the deer, you hold out, okay? And if you hold out, they basically don't attack the deer. They pretty much don't attack the deer. Look, holding out, okay? Look, I click on the deer. If I saw, look, the difference. Without out, without. See? Then you lure the deer. Then it's much more food, and you're saving food also with the deer, with the sheep. And you just kill it. And you go again. And again, and again, and again, and again. If you want to take like 2, it's already more than enough, by the way. And then you get the next boar, kill for it, and look, go around, hold out, slowly. And I go even, like, look at how fast you can go without loom. Because obviously, you start without scout, right? Then you go up. Pretty simple, right? And look at how good of an up we do have. A bunch of food under the TC. You don't need 2 lumber camps, you just need 8 on wood. 5, 6, 7, 8. And with this map, with this gold here, obviously, it's easy to all here. It's easy to all here. So I don't know what could be an issue for us now. Like, how would you build this if you're scared about your gold now, but probably want to protect your wood, right? Your food. So like this. Then it's finished here, then you just wall around there. And if you did the range, everything's secure. You make sure you micro those guys properly there, so they go Sorry about that, guys. And how would you approach here? Look at how much food we still have, right? And then you do the stable. Fire, he's doing whatever. You saw a barrack here, right? Then you do, obviously, the loom, right? But if he's just doing scouts, he still has some time. So look, you don't need to do it right away, right? Agreed? And then we get the food upgrade later. And when you have 6 here already, I like to get the food upgrade. When I have 6 on the sheep, I already start doing food upgrade. Okay? Then the guy goes to the straggler trees and blah, blah, blah. So let's say he's doing archers and you want to wall yourself, you can wall. But in this situation here, if he's doing archers, and I know he's doing archers, I would do like 2-3 scouts. And we still have some food, right? And then you drop the range immediately. Right? Then you counter that counter attack, and then you can use your 2-3 scouts to walk around the map picking stuff because he has no mobility, right? That being said, if it's just a scout war, which happens a lot, then you just farm like crazy. Still only 8 on wood. You wall everything. Just 4 there. You can use those to farm as well. That's probably walled. But again, you would have some scouts around. So let's do... And then you finish the walls. Look. The most important thing here, probably... Guys would agree, that would be... when to go to gold, right? And it's a tough one because... for you guys, right? Because you're always like scared of going too fast or too late. But usually people go too late. From my experience watching you guys. Also, click outside here. There's a hole, right? So you wall there. But this is the build order. And then you just wall in the back if you can. Especially if he's doing houses. If he's doing archers, right? Why? Because then he cannot trade you anywhere. And then we would farm, put on wood. There's no shame putting those guys on wood until it's time for to go into gold. And now it's kind of time. 13 minutes, that's fine. All those guys, they're going to keep being farmers, right? You just leave them on straggler trees. It's very important to notice as well. Because you guys throw them on gold like by... There's no standards. You just throw them at gold. No, so like better just drop 5 on gold, the 5 next. And then we'll barrel, then go up. Okay? And the wood always 10. We have 11 now, doesn't matter. We will fix it later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hand cart. Wheelbarrow, sorry. You do a second lumber camp with 1 villager here. This is kind of messy. Still 11 there, 2 more guys here, but they're going to be farmers, and one of those are going to build the lumber camp, the wheelbarrow, the blacksmith as well, right? So you can use them to do the wheelbarrow, not the blacksmith now. Then they're going to be farms in the back of our base. Safe. You see that? Oh, it's trap. The food and the gold would be like perfect, but the blacksmith not. So actually, boom, not a problem anymore. Oh, go up. Super fast. You could go even faster, to be honest, in some situations. But think about it for a sieve that got no eco bonuses, right? Like, the most important thing, no TC. We still click up 16 minutes with 4 scouts in the field and wall a lot of the map. That's the way I think you should start playing this map, especially if you like to go in scouts, right? Okay, now arena, we talked about it before. Just go with the meta, which is FC light cav or fighting FC scouts fighting for the relics. All right, Highland, there's a lot of Arabia. We're not going to mention today. In Arabia, in Highland, there's a lot of things you can do here. But basically, there's like three main things. But let's check the map. Highland, uh, all explored, not even all visible. But look, maps always like that, right? Sometimes there are two passages, sometimes there's one. That being said, plenty of food. So in my opinion, like if you're too far away, if you're both too far away from the water like this, dude, just dock in a corner and FC the shit out of it. Takes forever for him to go to your base, right? So that's one way you can do. You do the normal dock build and blah blah blah, and you have FC behind it. The other way is when you were very close from the water, then you just fight for water, just like a normal water map. You just gush, right? Galley rush or fire galley rush, whatever you prefer. Usually, if your docks are close, you want to go fire galleys. If your docks are further away, you want to go galleys, right? And there's a third option where you dock, you notice he's FCing somehow, maybe you're scouting his side, you see no second dock, you see no bear, whatever, and then you rush him. You just dock and send villagers, right? And you literally do scouts or archers or whatever. That's the three ways you play. In my opinion, the best way would be obviously close to the water. You gush and take from there. It's a lot of food. You can dock everywhere after winning water, right? And have a really better boom than the opponent. But again, remember that's not only about the water, because there's plenty of land more sometimes as well. There's plenty of land always, but sometimes even more, like this one. Like it's both of you guys in the corner, right? And the water is super far away. So maybe, at least for this guy, maybe it's not even worth it. Look, his CC is kind of here, right? And it's more than one scream away here, one scream away, and so on. So that's how, like, good saves for these ones. Any Mayans are good, but they don't have bomber cannons in pure age, cannon galleons, right? But like, I don't know, Berbers, Mongols, Italians, all those saves. Like it all depends as well what's the other saves, what's the other opponent save and your save as well, and how you play and so on. So like, again, like, you give general idea of what you can do, but I don't want to go too deep, because you guys should also toy with it and tweak around and about yourselves. Thank you so much. I hope you did enjoy. That's one of the newest videos for YouTube in English we post in a while, and there will be more. And again, like, I hope you did enjoy. Cheers. Have a good one. Bye bye.